They're just outright lying to you. They're showing you an image of some kind that makes it appear as though life is peachy, that they have escaped the world's problems, that through whatever image filter they're using, they look better, are healthier, are more well off, all for having made this one simple change in their life. And what is that? They went abroad. You're being lied to. This isn't a diatribe against Instagram, but the reality is everybody online who shows you something wants one thing: your attention. And telling the truth almost never gets that. They want you to stay on their video for another 30 seconds. They want you to read 100 more words. They want you to feel a touch more anxiety so that you'll stay hinged just a little longer to see if your anxiety will resolve. I'll go ahead and tell you, it won't. You remain unresolved, at least until you tune into the next video, right? And the thing is this, sometimes there's not a lack of resolution. Sometimes they're just outright lying to you. They're showing you an image of some kind that makes it appear as though life is peachy, that they have escaped the world's problems, that through whatever image filter they're using, they look better, are healthier, are more well off, all for having made this one simple change in their life. And what is that? They went abroad. That's the Instagram lie. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, do us a favor and follow. If you're on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. It just tells the algorithm what to do, and we really appreciate it. But how do you know that I'm not just one more of these snake oil salesmen? I mean, I want you to listen to my podcast, right? I want you to make informed decisions. I want you to like and subscribe. The success of the podcast depends on it. I need viewers. I need subscribers. But the difference is I'm going to do it by telling you the truth. I'm not going to show you anything except for reality, because that's what this podcast is about. If you don't need it, good. That means either I haven't given you worthwhile content, or it means that you just don't need it because you understand that going abroad means you're making trade-offs, which is like the center point of this podcast. And that's the secret. That's the key difference between the Instagram grifters and reality. You cannot escape the challenges in front of you. You can only trade them for other challenges. Maybe that's what you want. Okay, maybe you do want the Instagram lifestyle. I only have 2 questions for you. Or maybe you do want to go abroad. Are you sure? And are you entirely aware about what you're trading off? What I mean is, do you know what you're giving up when you choose to move away from all of your challenges? Because that's essentially what moving away from home is. Even if it's possible to do so, to move away from challenges. And do you know what you're taking on when you choose to engage essentially a mystery of what the new challenges will be? And is it worth the good things that you lose to take on a new set of unknown challenges? You see, the thing about Instagram abroad grifters is that they can only show you what is cool, what's awesome, what's interesting. And they will only ever show you the difficult parts of life if it's extremely monetizable. They're going to be saying something to the effect of this: my life is awesome because of this choice that I made. I'm happy because of this choice that I made. Everything I experience is better because of this choice that I made. And have you noticed this to be true of anything at all? Actually, yeah, there are a few things that this is true of, but I can guarantee you that none of them live off of Instagram views. The things that are worthwhile, the things that make your life awesome, the things that make your life better, they don't come from being abroad. They come from you being a person who can take a bad situation and turn it into a good experience. They come from you doing the things that have always and throughout all of history made people happy, fulfilled, and experience meaning in their lives. This is not a popular opinion because most people don't want to hear this. So if we have with some modicum of success, if we can with some modicum of success, call out the Instagram lie, what do you put in its place? I'm really not going to suggest something that you might not be expecting at all. The real life abroad is good, but you've got to have a serious perspective shift. And it is good not because it looks the way you think something beautiful ought to look on Instagram, but instead because it's confusing, intense, rewarding, fun, even though it's outright difficult. The other day, I was in a left-hand turning lane, and my light had just turned green. I let off the brake, and the moment I touched the gas, an idiot on a scooter with his daughter or granddaughter sitting behind him speeds right in front of me between the car in front of me and him as we're both moving. Similar incident. I was riding my bicycle to work one day, and I was crossing. I had a green light to cross on the pedestrian crossing with all the pedestrians, and I go to pass behind a van that is in front of the pedestrian sidewalk, and the car behind him moves forward until there is less than 2 feet between him and the van in front of him, causing me to fall off my bicycle, right? This is normal. This is normal. Instagram's not normal. What life abroad is really like is entirely contingent upon your ability to navigate the normalcy of other people's stupidity. And if you can do that, if you really can look at other people's stupidity and still stay sane, if you can understand that you're also part of this big machine that isn't always pink fluffy unicorns dancing on rainbows, then you can have a good life abroad. Because let's be honest, if you're looking at the Instagram life and then thinking that you want it, you've lost. Don't come abroad. Stay where you are, because there's no such thing as the Instagram life. All this brings us to question what you can legitimately expect in any given experience abroad. Well, let's take the propositions from the Instagram lifestyle and compare them to their counterparts, aka reality. First off, there's this inherent idea of cleanliness that Instagrammers present. Every single place you go to in the whole world smells. I love my New Yorker friends, but New York freaking stinks. I mean, literally, it smells. I know that's going to grate some of you, but it's just the way it is. It's distinct, and I've never found it pleasant. But there are worse places, and it's the very first thing you realize when you get off the plane somewhere, and you can't communicate that through Instagram. If you go to Southeast Asia or China, be prepared to smell the pollution. Not just smell it, but you feel it in your nose, in your throat. It can even cause notable pain in your lungs. You can't communicate this through Instagram. It's a problem, of course, and these countries realize it's a problem, and they don't like it either. But when you're the industrial backbone of the entire world, and the world wants a particular kind of product, you have to make a trade-off. And the trade-off most of these countries make is to support the industries that form their economy. But for you, the one who's watching these Instagram abroad grifters, they won't show you the people hacking up their lungs as they take a stroll down the sidewalk. They won't show you the faint glow of yellow where the sun should be, but is instead invisible because heavy atmospheric pollution. And they won't tell you that these days are more frequent than clear days. So what are you going to do? Buy an air purifier and cloister yourself up in your apartment Where's the Instagram lifestyle then? This doesn't even begin to approach issues like food safety. Sure, people are Instagramming their $50 salads, but you're lucky if you can eat that once every few months, right? Cheap cooking products, lack of proper sanitation. These are common issues that plague the most normal places abroad. Because one of the alluring features of going abroad is the affordability. Well, you pay for that. You pay for that with a lack of oversight into properly made products that have controlled safety mechanisms that guard you, the consumer. Remove those safety mechanisms and large exploding populations exceed the market's natural reaction that might otherwise lead consumers to vote with their feet. In other words, there's just so many dang people that you can't have controls on some of this stuff. But it's not always like this. But this element certainly exists and is completely overlooked by most influencers, or it's completely ignored intentionally because it doesn't get likes. And then there's other real issues that every country faces. Poverty, for instance. Not long ago, my wife and I visited Philadelphia to see some friends. In the back of our minds, and also within some of our conversations, we were genuinely scoping out the city to determine if it would be a good landing spot for us should we move back to the United States. It sounds really horrible to say this out loud, but the homeless population is one of the saddest aspects of an otherwise pretty awesome city. We go somewhere, go to a park to see a national monument, the three of us, my wife, myself, and my daughter, and we're accosted by like a big mentally ill man who couldn't be over 30 years old, riding around his bicycle, screaming profanities at us and other people. You walk down many normal streets in Philadelphia, and there are people overdosed on drugs. Random people doing the strangest things, taking their shirts and just whipping lampposts, like just banging their heads against lampposts. These are things that we saw. People hiding behind cardboard boxes, shuffling around, moaning from God knows what. So many people strung out on fentanyl. You can't portray this in an Instagram video when you're trying to get people to go to a place and enjoy that place. But poverty's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. And I'm not judging anyone who is homeless. My heart genuinely breaks for these people, especially those who are at this intersection of psychological issues and homelessness and broken lives. Then we returned to Tampa, of course, after Philadelphia, which is my native land. And of course, we compared the homeless population between the two cities. Those people bent over on fentanyl in Philadelphia, walking around, screaming angrily and about everybody and everything. Well, that's Philadelphia. And the homeless people in Tampa are mainly just 60-year-old beach bums who smoked too much weed and couldn't hold down a construction job. They're much more amicable. And that's not all of them, of course. But seriously, what influencer is going to make a video that advertises the glories of being abroad because one aspect of a homeless population is more tolerable than another? Then there's the constant tension between people enjoying or watching tourists and foreigners, and a genuine anti-foreigner sentiment, which is growing in many places in the world, unfortunately. I mean, I'm all about nationalism, to be honest. I teach my kids, my students are Chinese. You should love your country. And you should work to make it a great place. Everybody should do this for everybody's country. We should all do it in the right way. Make it a good, peaceful, great place. Who doesn't want to do this? I'm all about making your country better, but we also want to be welcoming. We're going to encounter strangers. We're going to encounter different people from different cultures coming to our cities. So, how you deal with the reality that some people will go beyond just gawking and might be downright hostile. What do you do about that? It's something that happens. Even in the nicest places, this happens. Beyond that, consider things as simple as driving practices. Everybody has to go places, right? But even public transportation could be a hellish experience in the wrong place. Can you handle being nauseous all the time and no matter what kind of transportation vehicle you're in? Can you handle complete lack of structure, the lack of rules? Can you handle no consideration for something as simple as the right of way? Can you deal with that? And we haven't even begun to broach the subject of social habits. Even in the most modern cities, you can unsurprisingly find people engaged in practices that we would only visit the restroom for. And of course, in the United States, and that's not even true. There are places in the United States that people would not even visit the restroom for things that we consider to be very, very private experiences. So what do you make of this? What do you do about it? The whole point is quite simple. There's no such thing as an Instagram life. Sure, you can dip your toes in and hop back out and feel like you've had a really cool experience. And if that's what you want to do, then have at it. Just be a decent person in the process. But if you want to go somewhere and you want to spend a year or 2 or 5 there, go ahead and stop following the Instagram abroad influencers. Go ahead. Every place is a mixed bag. The secret is knowing that.